Welcome back, guys, to another video. Today we're talking about the 8th attempt to kill David and his repeated rebellion against God's spirit arised by jealousy in 1 Samuel chapter 19 verses 18 to 24. Let's get right into this video. This is the last part of the chapter, which is 19, and let's break this down. Without further ado, let's get into it. And we read, "So David escaped and went to Ramah to see Samuel, and he told him all that Saul had done to him. Then Samuel took David with him to live at Naioth. When the report reached Saul that David was in Naioth in Ramah, he sent troops to capture him. But when they arrived and saw Samuel leading a group of prophets who were prophesying, the Spirit of God came upon Saul's men, and they also began to prophesy. And when Saul heard what had happened, he sent other troops, but they too prophesied. The same thing happened a third time. Finally, Saul himself went to Ramah and arrived at the great well of Sukkah. 'Where are Samuel and David?' he demanded. 'They are in Naioth in Ramah,' someone told him. But on the way to Naioth in Ramah, the Spirit of God came even upon Saul, and he too began to prophesy all the way to Naioth. He tore off his clothes and laid naked on the ground all day and all night, prophesying in the presence of Samuel. Then the people who were watching exclaimed, 'What? Is even Saul a prophet?' What we'll get again, we'll be talking about the repeated rebellion against God's spirit aroused by jealousy with King Saul. We also will see the 8th attempt of David's life by King Saul. What we see in these verses is that David led and went to seek counsel from Samuel. What we also see is Saul heard that David was with Samuel in Naioth at Ramah. And what happened? God's spirit protected David. We see that. How so? Well, number one, Saul sent men to capture David. They saw a group of prophets prophesying under Samuel's leadership. Also, we see they themselves were stricken by the Spirit of God and began to prophesy. Number two, Saul sent a second and third group of men to arrest David, and they too were stricken by God's Spirit and began to prophesy. Third, Saul himself left for Ramah and discovered that David and Samuel had gone to Naioth. Saul was overcome by God's Spirit and gripped by a trance of prophesying as he walked along traveling to Naioth. I want to give you a definition of trance, so we better understand the definition of trance because that is important. The definition of trance denotes the state of one who is out of himself. Such were the trance of Peter and Paul, per the nature absorbed a state of mind preparing for the reception of the vision. A trance is pretty much what it's saying is a trance is an out-of-body experience. So that's what Saul was actually having, an out-of-body experience. We also see Saul stripped off his royal robe and prophesied before Samuel, lying that way all day and all night, a symbol of God's spirits stripping Saul of his throne. We see that. I hope you enjoy this. Next, we'll go into chapter 20 and we'll see the story of David and Jonathan's friendship, a lesson on loyalty. I'll see you soon. God bless you and God bless your family.